Hello, everyone. I am James Milan, and this is the DPCD update. Looking a little different, a little bit of a throwback to pandemic times because I'm coming to you from my home instead of the ACMi studio. We have some construction going on at the studio, very noisy, so we're doing it from here today so that you can hear everything Claire has to say. I am joined by Claire Ricker. She is the director of our Department of Planning and Community Development for this DPCD update. Happy December, Claire.
Oh, thank you so much.
Congratulations just getting here, I have to say. And obviously, plenty of stuff still to talk about in the planning department ever and always. So today, among other things, we will talk about the new specialized stretch code that takes effect on January 1st and a feasibility study that will look at building housing above the Fox Library, the new Sustainable Landscaping Handbook, and Arlington 250, which is a regional group that is planning semiquincentennial celebrations. So that means 250th
Yes.
year celebrations of the American Revolution. Ha! But first, let's talk CDBG, Community Development Block Grants. I understand that the application period is open now. We know how important these are to life here in town. So, what should residents know?
All right. Yes, we are about to open the application period for program year 50 of CDBG here in Arlington. And so funding will be available for housing, economic development, infrastructure, and public service projects that principally benefit people of low or moderate income. Some of the projects that have been funded in the past, the Council on Aging's transportation program, their Dial-A-Ride, mental health counseling through the AYCC, scholarship programs for eligible individuals and family through the Boys and Girls Club, through the town's recreation department, and recently some of the public facilities improvement projects that folks have seen around town, the Whittemore Park revitalization project, which wrapped up last year, and the restoration of the Robbins Memorial Flagstaff Plaza here at Town Hall, which wrapped up earlier this year. So the funding period for this grant for our year 50 is July 1st, 2024 through June 30th of 2025. And the deadline to submit, it's a hard deadline. It's the one that the federal government gave us, January 14th at noon is when folks need to have their applications in to our grants administrator.
Yeah, and I mean, that was quite a litany of CDBG funded projects that you cited there, and yet it's still just like the tip of the iceberg for what these funds have done here in town. So pay attention to those dates, folks. As Claire said, it's a hard deadline, and these are, these are great funds to make available and accessible for projects of import in the community. So thank you for that. Let us move on. Next thing is we've talked before and you've explained stretch codes before, but there's a specialized stretch code coming into effect at the beginning of the new year on January 1st. Can you explain again what that means and what residents should know?
Sure. So the specialized stretch code encourages, but does not require, electrification of new buildings in order to help Arlington and the state achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. And because it applies, solely to new construction and major renovations, it will impact developers and those folks who are looking to do, a major renovation potentially to their property. Town meeting voted to adopt this code last spring. And we're working on currently the sustainability manager, Talia Fox, is working with some other communities to put together an educational website that goes over the details of the code to have that up by early next year. But the code does go into effect on January 1st, and we'll see what the impacts are, after that.
Great. Let us move on to talk about the Fox Library, which is, I think for many people, actually the heart of East Arlington in a lot of ways, and a building we're all familiar with in a number of ways. It could change in its appearance and its use if this feasibility study yields the right results, I assume. So tell us about that, please.
Oh, absolutely. So DPCD is working with the library on studying the feasibility of putting some housing above a new Fox library. So the library is currently pursuing funding that would allow them to build a new Fox library. And Anna Litton approached me and said, what would it take to put housing, above? So we received a roughly $77,000 community planning grant from EOHLC, which is the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities at the state. To study the potential development of housing with an emphasis on affordable housing. We will definitely be looking at, what it would take to build some affordable housing above that library. So, studying the potential of public assets to create housing is something that has been envisioned and discussed as part of the town's master plan, our housing production plan, and of course, the recent equity audit. So to begin with, I think, the study will start to look at precedents, where this has been successful before. In Chicago, they had 3 buildings that co-located housing and a library. Those branches opened in 2019. Boston is currently redeveloping their West End library into a mixed-use facility with a library on the first floor and housing above. This grant that we received is also supplemented by a $15,000 technical assistance award from MAPC, who will be doing the feasibility analysis, who will be performing the study, for a total project value of roughly $92,000. So this is some great work that we're going to be taking on. So the study will be conducted over the first quarter of 2024 with findings. Initial findings will be available in late March and early April. And of course, we will be presenting those in a public forum at that time.
All right. Well, I'm speaking for myself. I don't know if anybody else, but I'm keeping fingers crossed that feasibility study comes out comes to the conclusion that this is in fact doable and that we can move forward with it, because it sounds very exciting, I have to say.
Yeah, it would be a great project. Yeah.
Absolutely. You have, excuse me, a Sustainable Landscaping Handbook to tell people about. Please do.
Yeah. Sure. So I'm excited about this one too, as a beginning gardener. David Morgan, the environmental planner here in our office, has been working with staff from Stoneham and Winchester to develop a handbook that would enable residents to design and build beautiful, ecologically friendly landscapes on their properties. And the guide is targeted at both beginning and expert gardeners. Winchester managed the project funding. And it was which was awarded through an MAPC Accelerating Climate Resistance grant. And this project was made possible by Arlington's involvement with the Resilient Mystic Collaborative. So thank you so much to David Morgan for your hard work. We've received really positive feedback so far on the helpful handbook. And, looking forward again to see, what the outcome of this is in everybody's garden.
Great information available once again to the Arlington community. Thank you for that. So last thing on our official agenda for today is Arlington 250, which is a very large project meant to honor a very significant moment, obviously, or time of our country's birth. So I know that there are lots and lots of folks from Chamber of Commerce and Tourism, et cetera, to ACMi, to many others who are already involved in the early stages of planning for these celebrations in like about 18 months or so. So obviously DPCD will have a huge role in this as well. So tell us about it.
Sure. So last night, our economic development coordinator, Katie Lusai, attended, with other Arlington representatives, a regional kickoff meeting to commemorate the 250th anniversary of battles that occurred on the first day of the American War for Independence. There was a very large turnout. Lots of folks from all 4 communities that are involved in this intermunicipal agreement, including Lexington, Linkard, Lexington, Lincoln, Concord, and Arlington. Our state legislatures were there, members of the state delegation. There were folks there from Mass MEMA, which is the Emergency Management Association, the National Park Service, and many other stakeholders that are involved in getting ready for the semiquincentennial celebration. And so there'll be many events, over the next 18 months or so, and even beyond. But last night they discussed public safety, marketing these events, history and education opportunities, arts and culture, as they're working towards, the celebration in April of 2025. So starting next week, actually, is when a lot of these celebrations begin. And we'll be commemorating on December 13th, Lexington's tea burning anniversary, and then on December 16th, the 250th anniversary of the Boston Tea Party. So the town is looking forward to continuing this regional collaboration with all our partners. And I think in terms of a call to action here for folks, Arlington 250 is still seeking volunteers. And if any Arlington resident is interested in participating as part of the committee, of course, application information is available on the town's website.
Yes, we have heard the same from other members of that committee that they are, not desperately, but very eagerly, hoping for greater participation from residents out there. And again, this is going to be something that we will be talking about for quite a while to come, and charting again the various stages as we build up to April of 2025. Okay, Claire, lots and lots of content shared already. Anything we missed?
Nothing I can think of right now. Yeah, I think,
Well,
this is a department that's always busy.
Yes, I know we could probably do one of these a week without a problem, but we won't make that. We won't make you do that. In fact, we will take this opportunity, though it's still relatively early in December, to wish you happy holidays, and hope that you get some well-earned rest. It's been quite a couple of years under your tenure, so I hope you really do get a little bit of R&R over this coming break.
Thank you. Happy holidays to you too.
Absolutely. I've been speaking with Claire Ricker. She is the director of the Department of Planning and Community Development. Fingers in many, many pies in terms of the quality of life here in Arlington. For this DPCD update, I am James Milan. Thank Claire for her time. We do thank Claire for her time, that is, and we thank you for yours. Thanks so much for joining us. We will see you next time. And happy holidays.